Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope the students have joined the class. Can any one of you just tell me if my voice is properly audible? Please type in yes or no. Yesterday we discussed about different topics in Revit, especially about components, complex walls, and about staircases. That was the main gist of yesterday's class. And today we're going to understand visual graphics. What are the few settings you need to keep, and what are the different properties you need to set to work on a model. So I'm going to open the software. So when I open the software, I have the models which I have completed earlier in the model section. In families, I have the families of Revit software on which I can work on. So we're going to work on the models. So as we have been working on a model from the first class, I'm going to open the same model and click on open. I'll go to desktop. In desktop, I have the civil class which I have been working on. I'll click on that. I'll click on open. Now this is the model we have been working on every day. So we are going to work on this model. In this model, we're going to understand a few settings in the graphics section, visual graphics. We're going to understand all the details about it. So the first thing that we're going to understand is the navigation toolbar, which I had explained in the first class itself. I'm going to discuss it in more depth in today's class. The first thing is the navigation tool. This tool is used to view the complete four different views of the building: the front view, the back view, the side views, and along with that, top and bottom views of the building, which you can see on the cube itself. The cube has 6 views. Please observe the corner top right portion of the user interface. You can see a cube. This cube is called as navigation tool. from the navigation tool or navigation cube, you can see the front view of the building. When you click on that, for example, I have my building on the bottom left corner of my workspace. Let's say I want to see the front view of the building. If I want to see the front view of the building, I just have to click on the front. You can see that the model gets shifted to the center of the workspace. Okay. And if you rotate the building to the side, the cube, navigation cube, also rotates along with the building. Now, however I rotate the building, in the same direction and in the same way, the navigation cube also rotates. So we have the front view. If you want to see the right view, you have the right view in the cube. Now, if you just want to move the cube, if you just want to rotate the cube, you can just click on the four symbols shown on the either side of the cube. On all sides of the cube, I'll click on it. When you click on those arrows, the cube is going to rotate. Along with the cube, the building's orientation also changes. This is the left view, the front view, the right view, the back view, the left view. Now, if you want to see the top of the building, you can click on the top arrow. From the top arrow, you can observe the top of the building. If you click it again, you can see the right portion of the building. If you click it again, you're going to go to the top view of the building. Now, if you want to go to the bottom of the building, click on the arrows. You can see the bottom of the building. Now, let's say I have lost my model by zooming out the scroll button completely out of the view range. Now, if I want to view the building closely, what I can do is I can double click on the scroll button. If I click on the double click on the scroll button, I'm going to return to the view of the building. Similarly, let's say I have went far away from the building. I've scrolled out. Now I have zoomed out my camera out of the view range. Now, if you want to see the building again, you can just click on front of the navigation tool. You'll get back the building. The navigation tool even has 4 views on each view. Let's say this is the front view. In the front view, you have the top view along with the front view. This is the 30-degree view of the building from the top. You have the front view, you have the top view. Similarly, you have the left and front view, which is seeing the building 30-degree angle from the left side or from the front side. Similarly, you can see the building from the right, which is 30-degree from the front and right. You can see the bottom of the building in 30-degree angle. These views are also called as isometric views or orthographic views. Along with these 4 views, you also have 4 corner views of the building. Now, if you click on this, this is called an isometric view, where you can see all the 3 sides of a building. The top view, you can see the top of the building. You can see the side of the building. You can also see the front of the building. We have learned these views in AutoCAD. The students who are studying civil engineering, you might be knowing about these views, where you can view the exact 3 sides of the building. Now I'm going to click on the other side. You can also see the other side of the building. You can see the building from the bottom. you can see the building from the bottom left corner. Similarly, on every view, you have such views. This is the right view. You can see the building from the top and right, bottom and right, front and right, back and right, isometric view 2 from the front, isometric view from the bottom, isometric view from the bottom back. Now you can see all the views with the help of this navigation tool. Now you have another tool which is called as full navigation tool. I'll click on this. In the full navigation tool, you have a few advanced views. You can view the building. The first one is zoom. If I click on zoom, I can zoom the building forward and backward. Now this is the zoom tool. You just have to place the position where you need to zoom. Let's say I want to zoom this window. Now I'm going to zoom in just by moving my mouse in the upward direction. If I move my mouse in the backward direction, I'm going to go out of the view range. Now in the same way, I can zoom inside the building. So this is the zoom tool. You also have the zoom tool in the scroll button. But if you want to zoom the exact point on the building, you can do this with the help of zoom tool. The next is rewind. In rewind, you can see all the different views you earlier had throughout the work period of your time. Let's say you are working on some particular view and you don't remember exactly in which direction you saw the building. You can click on rewind and keeping your left click on, you just have to keep on moving the cursor to the left or right of these photographs. These photographs represent all the views you have been working on. You can open any group what you had been worked from the point where you started the model. Now remember, the tool which is used to orbit the building, to orbit the camera, or to move the camera, you have to click on shift and the scroll button. But when you click on this particular tool, full navigation tool, you cannot work on those tools. The scroll button is only going to help you to zoom in and out, but you cannot orbit the building. You can only orbit or you can only see the 3D view of the building when you close this full navigation tool. I hope you're clear. The next thing is pan. Pan is the same tool that we have been using to move the camera in horizontal, vertical, and various directions. After that, we have orbit tool, with the help of which you can orbit your building in different directions. But remember, the only point that you're going to click now will be the point around which you can orbit the building. The globe which you can see is called the pivot, and with the help of it, you can orbit the building or you can orbit the camera around the building. Okay, we have zoom, we have rewind, we have pan, we have orbit. Along with that, we have the center symbol, which is going to help you now. Let's say you want to place a center on any point. You can place a center point on any part of the building to view that a particular part of the building properly. The next tool is walk. With the help of walk tool, now let's say I am standing in front of the building. The walk tool can be used to move to a certain place with the help of walk tool. The next is up and down. Up represents moving up and bottom represents going down. You can also see a symbol along which you can move the cameras up and down. The last one is look. Let's say you're standing in some position and you want to look around. With the help of this tool, you can look around from the same point. Just to remind you, all these tools combined together can be worked on the scroll button itself. With the help of shift, you can orbit. With the help of scroll button, you can pan around. With the help of scroll and pan, you can move around, you can walk, you can look. The help of scroll button and zooming in, if you roll the scroll button towards forward, you can scroll the building, you can zoom the building inside. If you zoom out, you just have to scroll your scroll button backwards. So all the tools are easily available in the mouse itself, but these tools can also be used if you do not have a mouse or if you want to work on the model in a different way. So once you close that full navigation tool, now you can use the shift and scroll button at once and you can orbit the camera around the building. So we discussed about these tools, the navigation tool, the navigation, full navigation tool and navigation tool. We've discussed about that. The next, what we need to discuss is about graphics. Now in graphics, you have 1 by 8 inches view scale. Now let's change the number to 1 by 2. Now what happens is your view scale is going to change. But basically, by zooming in and out of the building, the view scale remains same and you don't have to worry about that. Let us keep it the way it was earlier. The next thing is, if you come little downwards, you can see visual or graphics. If you click on edit, you can see a few things that need to be viewed on. Let's say, for example, I'll click on site. There is an option called as site. So this represents when you view the building in the site view, what are the things you require to view? Let's say, for example, I want to view the origin point of my building. Now that is called as project base point. I'll click on that. I'll click on apply and OK. Now you can see a small globe. This globe is called the project origin point. This is the point on which your project lies. Now, if I place that point away from the building, now this would be my project's center point, and the model will be a few feet away from the point. So always try to keep the base of the project point at the end of your model. So if you want to place it exactly on the end of the model, you need to go to the level 1. And when you go to level 1, you have to click on visual visibility or graphics. And let's go to the site. And inside, you have an option called as project base point. I'm going to check that. I'll click apply and OK. Now you can see the project base point. Now try to place that point exactly at the one corner of your building. This is very important because if you need to work this project in another software, it becomes very convenient for you to move the model wherever you want in the other software. Let's say, for example, if I'm using the Lumion software, I need to have the exact project base point in order to move the model in the software. I hope you're understanding. So this point is called as project base point, which you can alter with the help of these visibility graphics. So you have different model categories. You have areas. You have references. Similarly, you have cable tray fittings. Let's understand about columns. It says column should be visible in hidden lines or not. If you click on hidden lines, you have the column over here. Now let's go to visibility graphics again, and in column, I'll uncheck this point and click on apply. Okay. The difference here is there are two types of views. One is visible lines, hidden lines. The other is shaded lines. I'm going to explain this as well in order to make you understand what type of views are available for you. Similarly, every particular Revit own settings for viewing it in different views. Okay. Along with that, the next tool is graphic display. I'm going to click on edit in the graphic display. So the graphic display, how do you want the graphic display to look like? Do you want it in wireframe? So what is wireframe and what is the different views? I'm going to show you right away. Click on edit. In style, I'm going to click on wireframe, the first one, and click on apply. So this is the kind of view you can see This is the view of the building you can see. You can see every line of the building, every single point in the building. Now let us rotate the building. Now this is how your building looks like. You can view every single line of the element of the building. Crystal clear, everything can be seen. For example, you can see the wall. You can see every single line of the wall. So this type of view is called as wireframe view. You can alter that in graphic display, as well as you have another method for that. I'll show you just when I complete this. The next one is called as hidden line. If I click on hidden line and click on apply, now you can see the entire building, but it will not be colored, or it will not be in its own texture. All the textures will be hidden. It's like an AutoCAD drawing of the building. I hope you're understanding. So the next one is called as shaded view. And when you click on apply, this is the view of the building in which you can view the colors as well of the building. You can see all the shades of the building, the assigned shade of the building. I'm going to click on edit. You have the next one, which is called as consistent color. When you click on apply, in this view, the colors will be consistent, which means few number of colors will be used to display your building. Okay, it's very much similar to shaded view. I'll click on edit again. And the last one is realistic view. I'll click on apply. Realistic view is the exact view of the building after it gets rendered. You can see all the textures of the building. You can see all the shades. Every single edge can be seen clearly after it gets rendered. It is like a pre-render image of the model. Now remember, if you work in realistic view, the model becomes heavy, and working on that model is going to take away some time. So I'm going to zoom inside. You can see the texture of the window. So this is what realistic view means. You can see the exact texture of each element. So for column, I have used the material carpet. You can see the texture of the carpet. So this is the realistic view of the building. So always keep the building in shaded form, which is the best way to work on a building. I'm going to keep it shaded. If you want your edges to be seen, you can click on the show edges. If not, click on that again. That checkbox will be closed And then all the edges of the building will not be visible to you. The edge lines of the building are not visible. So if you want to view your building without any edges, you can do that. I'm going to click on graphics again. So we usually require that to understand the difference between different elements. I'm going to click on apply. Smooth lines with anti-aliasing. If you close that, your building lines will be smooth. If you check that, the lines will be rough. All the lines will be visible with a little bit more thicker density. The next thing is transparency. Now, if I increase the transparency of the building, this is how your building looks like. You can also see the inner views of the building. Now, if you want to work on interiors, you can use this. Sometimes you might require to view the inner part of the building. You can do that by increasing the transparency of the building. Now you can see you can view all the elements of the building. If you keep it to 1, even then you can view the building. But when you set it to 0 transparency, you cannot see the inner part of the building. It becomes completely opaque. Now if you increase it to 0, from 0 to 100, it becomes wireframe and you can see the complete lines of each element of the building. I hope we are clear. Silhouettes. So these are a few things. You have some elements which represent human beings, chairs, tables, cars. If you want those elements, if you want to view those elements, these are the different settings for them. The next one is shadows. If you click on cast shadows and click on apply, you can see the shadow of the building. Let us click on edit. I'll go to shadows. Show ambient shadows. These are the realistic shadows of the building. If you want these, you can click on ambient shadows to be seen, but usually we don't require them. Sketchy lines, enable sketchy lines. Glitter represents that it looks as if it has been drawn with scale and pencil. Extension. You can see the lines of each element extending out of the model, which is again not so necessary for us. Depth queuing, lighting. Depth queuing can be understood in the later class. Lighting represents how do you want your light to look like. Sun setting. Let's click on sun setting. Now you have different views in which your sun is going to reflect on your building. If I click on still, this is how your building is going to look like. Now, if I go back again, go to lighting, and if I click on single day, click on apply, So these are the different ways in which you can alter the lighting of the sun. It shows the sun is going to come from the top left. You can alter the angle of the sun's direction. And the last one is background. You can always keep a background behind the building for rendering the building. Let's say you want a realistic view of the building. For that, you can always keep a background image for that, so that after render, the background looks nice and the rendered image of the building is going to be more attractive. So these are a few settings to remember in graphics. Along with that, we have discipline, which shows architectural, structural, which is the kind of template that you're using. One more thing we need to discuss. Let's say you are in the level one. In some of the softwares, when you're working on those softwares, if you go to level two, you will not be able to see the complete view of the building. In that case, you need to go to phase, which is at the bottom part of the properties bar. In that particular place, you have to click on new construction and click on apply. Only then you'll be able to see the first floor and ground floor together. You can see that you can also view the ground floor's elements, which are also visible to us. Oh, I hope it's clear. If you have any doubts regarding the visual graphics and the control panel, please let me know. Sorry for the interruption. There was a problem in the network. Screen is not visible. Please check once. I hope it's visible now. Please let me know if my screen is visible. Yes, no. So we have discussed about different views, different view ranges. We also have view templates, and we have the front views of the building. We have discussed about the floor plans, level 1, level 2, and side view. Side view represents the complete view of the building. Okay. The next one is ceiling plans. In ceiling plans, we can view the ceiling of the building. So for that, first I need you to understand how a ceiling is placed and what is the procedure to view the ceiling. We have an option called as automatic ceiling. I'll click on automatic ceiling. When I go and place my cursor near the walls, I can see a red line which represents ceiling. If I click on that, if I'm unable to make the ceiling, I'll go to sketch ceiling. If I click on ceiling, I can create my own ceiling wherever I want. For instance, I'm going to create a ceiling in my living room and click OK. Now, if you see the building in the floor plan view, you cannot see the ceiling view. But if I go and click on level 1's ceiling plan, now you can see the view of the ceiling. You can also view the lights in the ceiling plan. Now you can also alter the design or shape of the ceiling. So this is how it looks like. If I go to level 1, I'm unable to see the ceiling. But if I go to ceiling plans, I can see the ceiling of my living room. You can alter it in any shape and size. If you want to alter it, click the ceiling, click on edit boundary. And after you click on edit boundary, you can alter the ceiling any way you want. I hope you're clear. How do you do it? Click on it, click on edit boundary. Now let's delete all the 4 lines. I'm going to create a circle and click on finish. When you click on finish, you can see the circular structure of the ceiling. So with this, we can view the ceiling plan of the building. I'm going to delete the ceiling. The next part is 3D views of the building. In 3D views, we have a few more things to be remembered. First, I'm going to cancel out all the other views which are not required for me right now. I'll view the building in the 3D view. In 3D view, let's say you want to view the building in a particular or in a specific direction. So how can we do that? You have an option called as camera. In camera, place the camera anywhere you want or in the direction in which you want to see your building. Click on that position and drag your mouse in the direction in which you want to see the building and click the second time. Now you can see the complete view of the building. With the help of this camera, you can view the building in this particular direction. Now, if you want to rotate the building, you can also rotate the building in the view. The position of the camera remains same, but you can rotate the camera in any direction you want, or you can place it the way it was earlier. So let's say this is camera view of the building. Now, if you go to 3D views, you have the 3D default view in which you can alter the complete views in any direction. But you also have 3D view 1, the 3D views panel. If you click on that, you can go to the exact direction of the building which you have arranged earlier. Now I'll go to 3D view again. And now I'm going to use another camera. Click on camera. And I'm going to view my building, let's say from the front. What I need to do is I need to click on one point and drag my camera in a certain direction and click on finish. Now you can see the front view of the building. This is the front view of the building, but you can also rotate the view. You can increase the size of the photograph, or you can keep the camera in the front itself. You can crop the photograph. You can change the position of the photograph. This is a method to view the building in different directions. Once that is complete, you can see we have two views in the 3D view section. One is the 3D view default one. 3D view 1 is from the left side. 3D view 2 is from the front. And let's say I want another view. I'm going to go to the camera. I'm going to set my camera in another direction. I'm going to crop the photograph. After I crop the photograph, and let's say I'm going to close all the other views, you can see three views in front of you. One is 3D view 1, which is from the left, 3D view 1 and 2, which is from the center, 3D view 3, which is from the right side of the building. You can also rename the views. I'm going to rename it. Let's say left view, let's say I'm going to rename it as left view. The next will be renamed as right view. Let's say I'm going to rename the next one as front view and close it. Now, if I click on front view, I can see the front of the building, the left view of the building, the right view of the building. Now, if I click on shaded in all the views, you can also see the different views in a shaded format. I hope you are clear. The next, we discussed about elevations in the first class itself. We have already discussed all the other views. When I go to the different elevational views, I can alter the height of the cameras as well. Now eye elevation, it is set to 1 feet 4 inches. You can keep it to 4 feet. I hope you're clear. So we have discussed about elevations, 3D views, ceiling plans, floor plans. We've also discussed about some of the graphic settings, visibility graphics. So once I have understood how I can work on my views, one more thing I need to make clear. We have a few more settings in the bottom ribbon, which are also important to us. The first one is coarse, medium, and fine. The second one is called as visual style. The first one is called as detail level. What is the detail level? If you want to view the building in a appropriate way, you have bricks on the wall, you have some texture on the wall. If you want to view every single detail of the texture, you can click on fine, medium, and coarse. Fine represents that you can view the texture of the building, fine texture of the building, medium texture, and coarse texture. The next one is visual style, in which you can view different views of the building. The realistic view represents after it gets rendered, after it looks realistic, how is the building going to look like? What is the color going to look like? What is the texture going to appear? So all the details are going to be visible to you in a realistic view. Next one is consistent colors. Consistent colors is similar to shaded view. You can view the colors of the building. I'll keep on clicking all the details one by one. I click on realistic, you can see the realistic view of the building. After that, I'm going to click on consistent colors. You can view the lighter version of the building's color. Shaded represents a shaded version of the color. Consistent colors, wherever you look, in whichever direction you look, the colors will be same. There is no effect of shadows on your building. Every single color looks the same, so it's called as consistent. If you click on shaded, you can see the shades of the walls as well, different shades of the walls. There there will be an effect of shadows in your visual style, so that is called as shaded. We usually work in shaded, but you can also use consistent colors as well. After that, we have hidden line. Hidden line is a colorless view of the building's model. You can see the building's model without any color. And the top one is wireframe, in which you can view the building. Each and every line of the building can be viewed in wireframe view. So since I have also already shown you in the graphics section, it's the same tool available for you in the bottom ribbon portion of the user interface. So the next tool is show rendering dialog. If I click on rendering dialog, I can see the render settings on the left hand side of my work plane. So we are going to understand about rendering in maybe the 7th class. The next one is crop view. If you click on crop view, you can set the exact size of the view of the building. But it is not required right now because we want to see the complete view of the building. So we are not going to use that. If you click on show crop region, only the cropped portion will be visible to you. The other portion will not be visible. You can also see these two tools on the left hand side in the project in the properties bar. One of the important tools available for you in the bottom ribbon is hide tool. In this tool, you can hide some of the elements which you don't want to view. For example, if I'm working on the interiors, I do not want my roof to be visible. If you want to hide the roof, you have an icon which looks like specs. Click on that tool. You will see 4 different views. Now, if I click on hide element, the roof will be hidden. You can see the inner part of the building. Now, if you want your roof to come back, click on the same tool again. Click on reset temporary hide or isolate. Your view bar is going to return. Your roof is going to return back. If you click again, click on hide element, it is going to hide. If you click on reset temporary hide, it is going to reset. Now let's say I'm going to click a wall. I don't want my wall to be visible. I can click on hide element. The shortcut for hide is HH twice. Click on the wall or the element which needs to be hidden. Type HH. Now it is going to hide. I hope we are clear. I'm going to click on the wall. I can also isolate that element. Isolating means only that particular element will be visible to you. All the other elements are going to be hidden. Now, if you want to return all the hidden elements back, if you want to view them back, click on reset temporary, hide or isolate. It is going to reset back to its original visual style. I hope everything is clear. Now I'll click on the wall. I have another option called as hide category. If I click on hide category, all elements of the same category will be hidden. I'll click on hide category. Now you can see all the elements, all the walls of the same category are hidden right now, except for doors and windows. I'll reset it back. I'll click on the window. I'll click on temporary hide or isolate. Let's say I want all the windows to be hidden. I'll click hide category. Now you can see all the windows are hidden. I'll click on doors. I'll go to temporary hide or isolate. I'll click on isolate hide category. Now you can see even the doors are hidden. Now if you want them back, type on this, click on reset temporary hide or isolate. The next tool is the last one, which is isolate category. Now if you want the category of doors, the category of walls, the category of windows, or similar type of elements to be isolated. Isolating means you only want that particular element to be visible. You don't want any other element to be visible. In that case, you can click on isolate category. Okay. When you click on isolate category, only the element which I selected and the similar category of those elements are only visible, all the other elements are hidden. So this is another way to hide all the other elements, and if you want to retain only the element which you want to retain, it will be visible to you. This is used particularly if you want to work on a single element. Let's say you want to work on a wall. You can work on a wall by clicking on that wall and clicking on isolate element. Example, I'll click on this wall. I'll go to hidden. I'll type isolate this element. If I click on isolate that element, only this particular wall will be visible, and you can work on that single wall itself. You can create a few designs on those walls, or you can do anything you want. I'll reset temporary hide. These are some of the views, some of the tools which are required for you to view the complete scenario of the building. But we have not discussed all the views because it requires more time. We're going to discuss it in the further time to come. The next thing that I also need to discuss, we have seen how we can alter the walls, but we can also create some designs in the walls as well. Let's say, in order to make you understand, I'm going to draw a wall, and this wall is going to start from level 1 and end at level 2. So let's say this is my wall. Now, if I click on edit profile, I can create some hollow portions inside my walls and click on finish. Now you can create designs on your walls. If you want your walls to return back to its original profile, click on reset profile. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions till now regarding any of the topics discussed today, please let me know in the comment section. Let's say I'll click on the wall, click on edit profile and view my wall. I can also create an inclined wall in front of me. I can also create some shapes inside my wall. Now you can also see the profile of the wall. You can see the rectangular profile of the wall as well. This represents that the original shape and size of the wall looks like this. Now with the help of reset profile, you can set your wall back to its original shape and size. I hope it's clear. Now I'm going to delete that wall. One of the other details we need to understand in today's class is about views. You can view the building with the help of default 3D view. You can also view the camera. With the help of camera, you can view the building, different views. And walkthrough is another tool in which you can create a video of your building. Once I have created a walkthrough around my building, I click on walkthrough. I click on the building. So we are going to discuss about walkthrough as well in the last class, in which we are going to understand about how we can render the complete video of the building. So we have discussed about floor plans. We have discussed about ceiling plans, 3D views of the building. So we have one more tool to be discussed, that is about temporary dimensions, which will also be discussed in the upcoming classes. So in today's last portion of the class, we're going to understand how to work on different materials. I have an option called as materials. If I click on that option, you can see many number of materials available for us in the material section. Okay. And in material section, you have different materials available. You have sealing material, you have air, you have aluminum, you have analytical surface, you have bricks, you have brick soldier cores, you have carpet. So you can view many number of materials available for you in the material section. So how to apply a material to an element. For example, I'll select this particular element. Now I have an option called as materials and finishes. In that, in material, I have two arrows. It shows by category, which means material is not assigned to that element. So if you want to assign some material to that element, click on the three dots visible to you. Click on those dots, and you can apply any material to that particular element. Now you can see color on the surface of that element. Let's say I'm going to select this element. Click on material and finishes. I'll click on concrete lightweight. So this is how my element looks like. I have created a color to that element. Now similarly, I'm going to select the sweep which I created in the third class, maybe day before yesterday. I'm going to click on that element. I'll go to material, and in material, I'm going to select some material, let's say concrete. Now you can see the material of the sweep. Similarly, I'm going to keep on selecting all the elements and applying any material I want. You have to click on the element, click on the material, click on any material you want, and click on finish. Now, one more thing to remember is a wall cannot be given material in the same way the component is being given material. The other way to give material to the wall is with the help of paint tool. Now, what is a paint tool? In Modify, you have an option called as paint. Click on that paint. Now in paint, let's say earth is the material that I have applied on the upper portion of the wall, that is on the parapet wall. Now I'm going to click that earth. Now if you go near the wall, you can see the face of the wall. Click on that face. Go near the roof, you can see the face of the roof in blue lines, which represents that is the face which is going to be painted. Click on that. You can see color on that particular roof. Similarly, I'm going to apply paint on the bottom portion as well. Now, let's say I want another color. Let's say laminate color. Now, this color I'm going to paint it throughout the building. So the procedure is shortcut is PT type PT, you're going to go to the paint tool, or in modify, you have an option called as paint. Click on that paint, select any color you want. You just have to apply it on the surface. So this is how I'm applying the colors on the wall. Now I have applied color to my wall. Now after I've applied color to all the elements, let's say I do not want the colors which are available for me in the Revit software, Revit's material library. It has a limited number of materials. I want some other material to be applied on my wall. What I can do is I can go to manage, and in manage I can go to materials. In materials, I have an option called as create new material. I click on create new material, and after that we have an option called as open asset browser. Asset browser is the set of materials available in the Revit's files which are installed at the time of installation. So these files contain a few more material library which can also be included in the Revit's material library. So I'm going to click on that asset browser. Now you can see different kinds of materials visible to us. Let's select on the first Autodesk physical material library. When you click on that, you can see different kinds of materials available for us. For example, ceiling. Ceiling tile, ceiling tile. You have two types of ceilings, tapered black, tapered white. Similarly, you have ceramic. 3-inch square tiles, 3-inch square, 6 inches mosaic gray, porcelain, sandy, sunny day. So these are a few different material assets available for us. Let's say I want any material in my library. Now I have added mosaic gray, tile mosaic gray. Okay, I have that tile already. I'll click on porcelain, add to documents. So you can always upload any material you want from the asset browser. Some of the materials are locked, which are difficult to replace, but some materials can be added wherever you want. So for understanding how it works, let us understand what is the different tools available for us in material section. For example, I'm going to click on door panel. The first thing that comes is identity. In identity, we have the first option called as name. The name of the material is door panel. So that's the name of the material. The other descriptions are not necessary for us. I'm going to keep it the way it is right now. The only thing that you need to set is what is the class of that material. Is it carpet? Is it ceramic? Is it concrete? What type of material category it falls under. You need to specify that. The next thing is graphics. In graphics, always check this box which says use render appearance. It means whatever color you are applying to the building's model, the same color should be there before rendering in shaded view. That is, use render appearance. Since we are going to work our models in shaded view but not in realistic view, we always need to keep our use render appearance option checked. We should keep it on. Apart from that, you have a few more settings available for us. First one is shading. What is the color of the material? The next one is surface pattern. If you want any patterns to be displayed on the wall, you can always give that pattern. Any pattern you want. But if not, let us not keep it in the pattern form. The pattern can also be in colored format. The texture's alignment can also be changed. So the door panel looks like this. Now, what is the background of the texture? So you don't need to specify or change any of these details. Let us keep all these details the way it is. The third thing that needs to be understood is appearance. How should be the appearance of the material? Name, description, and keywords. Keywords is already given by default, but this is also not required. The only thing required is what is the image that you need to keep in order to understand what is the exact view of the material. How does it look like? So you can always add any material from your own library. Let's say you have visited some tile shop and you want a particular tile in your house. You can take the picture of that tile and you can alter the picture's quality. And once you are satisfied with the quality of the photograph, you can also add that particular photograph in your material library. It's very simple. Okay. Now we have all the materials available for us. Now let's say I want another material. For that, the first thing I'm going to do is create new material. When I create new material, when I click right click, I can see some settings here. The first one is edit. If you want to edit that material, you can edit it. If you want to duplicate or create another copy of the material, you can create a copy of the material. You can also rename that material with any name you want, or you can also delete that material. You can add those materials to favorites. We have favorites. Okay. Now let us rename that material as anything you want. Let's say I'm going to rename that material as stone. Now I'll go to identity. By default, whenever I give a name to a material, it is going to be named in the identity as well. Same identity material has been placed there. Next, what is the class of the material? Carpet, ceramic, concrete, earth. We have different categories of the material. We have stone. So that is the category in which it falls under. I'll go to graphics. I'll go to shading. I'll click on use render appearance. Now I'll go to appearance. And from there, I'm going to go to the asset browser. In asset browser, I have different materials available. I'm going to click on stone. In stone, we have few materials available. I'm going to click on coarse polished white and replace the current asset in the editor with the asset. When I click on that, you can see the material which was there in the asset browser was shifted to this material browser, which is of the Revit software. Revit has its own material library. So to that material library, I added the materials from the asset browser, and now you can see the material over here. So I created my own material. I used the asset browser's material and replaced it here. Let's say I create another material, rename that material as wooden floor. Now identity is wooden floor itself. Category is it ceramic? Yes, it is ceramic. I'm going to go to graphics. Should I use render appearance? Yes, I need the render appearance. The next one is appearance. What is the appearance of the material? Now I'm going to go to the asset browser. I can go to ceramic, and in ceramic I'm going to search something which looks like wood. Or you can also search that in wood as well. We have also the material category wood. We have birch, bamboo plywood, bamboo light, ash door, balsa. So you can see many number of materials available. You also have teak. Let's say you want teak as your material. Now you can see teak has been replaced in the material section. Now this material, I'm going to click on OK. Now let's say I want that material on the front portion of my wall. I'm going to type PT, which represents paint. And after I type that, I'll search for wooden floor, which I just created now. I click on this material, and I'm going to paint that material onto my wall. So now you have understood how you can create your own material, apply your own material to the wall. This is a method that we can use to create different materials. Now I'm going to explain how to create your own materials by downloading some photo from any source you want. For example, I'm going to go to the Google. I'm going to type stone cladding. and enter. I'm going to go to the images. I'm going to select any cladding I want. This looks nice. Now I'm going to save this material in desktop. Now I have saved that material. Now I'll go back to the Revit. I'll click on materials. I'll create new material by clicking on create new material. I'll rename that material as stone cladding. After that, I'll go to identity and set the class as stone. I'll go to graphics, click on use render appearance, which is required right now. And after that, I'll go to appearance. And in appearance, I'm going to go to the generic. So now if you want your own material to be added to your material asset, what you need to do is in generic, you have an option here, image. This option can be used to add materials from your own downloaded materials. So I'm going to click on image. Keep in mind that the material should be in JPG format or any image file, but not in any other format. It should be in image format and it should be HD images. So let's say I'm going to click on this material. I'll click on open. Now I have added my own material to the library. I'm going to click on apply and OK. Now let's say I want that material on the front portion of my wall. that is on the Cheja of my window. I'm going to click on materials. I'm going to type stone cladding. So I can see the material here. I'll click on stone cladding. I'll click on OK. Now my material has been applied. But how to know if the material is already applied or not? How to see the exact view of the material? For that, go to the visual style option in the second part of the ribbon and click on realistic. When you click on realistic, now you can see the material and its finish. This is how the material looks like. You can also see the wooden texture on the wall. Now, let's say you want to change the orientation of the material. You can also do that. Go to manage, click on materials. In materials, type stone cladding, you'll get the material. Go to appearance, and in appearance, you have to click on the image. And when you click on the image, the first thing that you get is brightness. You can change the brightness of the material. It is 100, which represents the material is bright. Next is transforms, which is not required to change. The next one is position. You can always change the position of the material. You can see the material's position can be changed horizontally. With the help of arrows, you can change the position of the material. With this help of the arrows for Y direction, you can change the Y direction or Y position of the material. You can also rotate the material in any direction you want. I'm going to keep it the way it is. You can also scale the material with the help of scroll button, keeping your mouse cursor on the arrow. You can change the scale of the material. You can increase the size of the material. Let's say I'm going to type 10 feet. Let's say I'm going to type 100 feet. It looks the same in 10 feet and 10 inches, but the difference is you can see the material has been changed. I'm going to change the sample size to 10 feet and click on done and click on apply. Now you can see the material's size is increased. It's very huge. Now if you want to decrease it, go back to materials, go to appearance, and in appearance click on the image, scroll down. In scale, type 2 feet. 2 feet I think would be enough for us. Click on done, click on apply, and OK. So this looks pretty much good. Now, once you've understood how the material looks like, click on the visual style, click on shaded. So now this would be pretty easy to work on. Always keep the visual style in shaded format so that it becomes easy for you to work on the model. In realistic view, the model becomes heavy and sometimes it might lag and sometimes you might even get stuck somewhere in the middle. So to avoid getting stuck and to avoid these kind of things, you can always work in consistent colors or shaded colors, which you'll get it in here, visual styles, shaded and consistent colors, any one of these. But realistic is used only to view the exact view of the material. So now let's go to the 3D views. Let's see the left view of the building. And I'm going to check the realistic view of the building. This is how the building looks like in realistic view. I hope you've understood. Today we discussed about many aspects. Many of the students were not there in today's class, but today's class is very important since it explains about how you can work in different views, different visual graphics, graphic display settings were also discussed in today's class. We discussed about floor plans and its different views, ceiling plans and its ceiling views. We discussed about a few more 3D views with the help of cameras. We discussed about walkthroughs, how we can create walkthroughs around the building. We discussed about elevations and how we can alter the camera positions with the help of elevations. And we also discussed about a few settings we need to keep in mind in the bottom ribbon, how to hide the element, how to isolate an element, how to view the element separately, how to hide the category of the element. So these are the things we discussed. Along with that, we also discussed about materials, how the materials look like, how different materials can be used, how you can create your own materials, how you can create generic materials, specific materials, how you can load materials from the asset browser in the Rivets library. So we also applied the materials to different elements. We used paint command to apply materials on the walls. We also created our own material by downloading it from the Google. We downloaded a material. We altered that material, its position, its scaling. We altered all the settings of that material, and then we applied that material to our wall. We checked how the material looks like. We changed it a few more times, and here we are. We completed a basic model of a building. And in tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss a few more details which are required for rendering. Before we move on to the rendering part, we need to discuss about a few more details. How to set the rooms, how to set tags, what are the schedules, different views. We're going to discuss about those things as well in tomorrow's class. So if you have any questions, any doubts related to anything that we discussed till now, please type it down in the comment section. So thank you, students. I hope you've understood all the concepts. If you have any questions related to any of the topics that we have covered in today's class, please write it down and you can ask me in next class. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.